Hello, my name is Drew. I'm at Platinum Star Games, and I'm going to be showing off my Marrow deck, Mono Black. This is my first deck that I really put a lot of time and effort into, and it's pretty much done for the most part. There's like a couple cards that I'm going to probably mention over a period of time throughout the video that you might need that I don't have yet, which is kind of tricky to find. Some cards, some shops may not have it. But first, we're going to talk about Marrow. All rats have fear. There you go. If you don't know what fear is creatures can only be blocked by artifacts and black creatures. And what's great about Marrow is that you can tap him, sacrifice a rat, which you'll have rats most definitely in this deck. Put X 1/1 black rat creature tokens into play, where X is the number of rats you control. So you're basically doubling the amount of rats you have just by going like, oh, tap. There you go. And then this is just a regular rat token, but only they were printed in 2 different sets, so they're really, really difficult to find. They're like almost $2 each just for 1 token, which is annoying. So we're gonna start off with your homeboys. Your good old. There's 2 ways you can play this deck with rats. I do Rat Colony. The other rats that you could do are Relentless Rats. So where the Rat Colony and Relentless Rats, Jesus. Rat Colony gets +1/+0 for each other rat you control. A deck can have any number of rat colonies. And then while Relentless Rats does +1/+1, and the difference between them is that you're paying 1 extra mana for the Relentless Rats. But with Relentless Rats, you need to have other Relentless Rats. It doesn't just work for rats. While Rat Colony, they just get +1/+0 for each rat. So in this deck, I have different kinds of rats you can play as well, besides just rat colonies. In my deck, I run about, I use 23 rat colonies in this deck alone. Just rat colonies. So yeah, no, that's this gist. The whole point is to buff your rats. It's a severely aggro deck. You're going to be swinging really quick, really hard, really fast. And that's what this whole deck is about. So I'm just going to leave the rat colony right there because I'm going like, there's a buff right there. And of course, first I'm going to go off with the creatures off my deck. And then I'm going to go into a bunch of combos and a bunch of other stuff. So first off, Erebos, God of the Dead. Indestructible, 5/7 for 4 mana. As long as your devotion is less than 5, Erebos isn't a creature. If you don't know what devotion means, each black in the mana little corner, mana cost is the mana cost of permanents you control, counts towards devotion to black. So, these black circles, that's the devotion. So if you have more than 5, it changes from being just being an enchantment to a creature. Your opponents can't gain life, which is great if you're playing against a white deck. And then you can play 1 black and 1 of any color's mana and pay 2 life, and you can draw a card. So a lot of this deck, I have a lot of draw. Because for this deck, you'll need a whole lot of land, and sometimes you'll have a little issue trying to get some land. So Erebos is a definite necessity. And if you just want a good blocker, because these don't block very well right off the bat. And board wipes are a huge issue with Rat deck, I'm going to let you know now. But if you could get really good ramp really fast in the beginning, you'll be perfectly fine. Another staple in the deck, Ogre Slumlord. Not a rat, but its abilities are fantastic. Whenever another non-token creature dies, you may put a 1/1 black rat creature token onto the battlefield. So let's say you have a rat colony die, it dies, it becomes a 1/1 rat. But what makes Ogre Slumlord so freaking amazing, rats you control have Death Touch. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants this. As soon as you put this card out into the field, people are going to attack this thing, they're going to get rid of it as fast as they can, because nobody wants to deal with Death Touch. Up next, so with the rats, a lot of the rats that you're going to get and see that aren't Rat Colony usually are, they're ninjas. They have a lot of ninja abilities, like for instance, this one's Ninjutsu. You play 2 mana, 1 black, 1 colorless. Ninjutsu, the way that it works is that, let's say I'm attacking with Rat Colony, and you pay 1 black, you swap out Rat Colony with him. Return an unblocked attacker you control to hand. Put this card into playing from your hand, tapped and attacking. And he also has a second ability, which is actually really good. Whenever Skull Snatcher, which is the name of the card, deals combat damage to a player, remove up to 2 target cards from that player's graveyard from the game. So you just exile 2 cards just from him attacking and being able to deal damage to the players, which is really good. Up next, Magus of the Coffers. I just recently put this in my deck to get more mana. Pay 2 mana, tap, and you're doubling your swamp. There you go. It's as simple as that. It's 5 mana. It's a 4/4. Simple enough. Nothing much to it. All right, Ruin Rat. 1 black, 1 colorless. Death Touch. When it dies, exile target card from opponent's graveyard. It's not really. I use it mainly to power my rat colony, and also just to have a simple Death Touch out there as like a protection shield. Like, you trying to hit me, I'll take care of that. I'll block it. I'll get rid of it, and you lose something else because of it. There you go. One of the biggest staples in all of rat decks, Pack Rat. 1 black, 1 colorless. Its power and toughness equal to the amount of rats you control. Clearly, with a deck when you have Marrow out on the field, and you can just sack a rat and double the amount of rats, this thing gets really strong really fast. And with its other ability, you can pay 1 black, 2 mana, discard a card, put a token onto the battlefield that's a copy of Pack Rat. So you can continuously make more Pack Rats, making them all stronger over time, which is absolutely nutty. So up next, oh geez, with any tribal deck you should have one of these. Metallic Mimic. And just battlefield, choose a creature type. Rat. Choose a type. That's what this becomes, a rat. And every time you put a rat, it gets a +1 counter. There you go. Making this a little bit sturdier with its toughness, which this becomes a necessity for any rat deck. And so is Adaptive Automaton. Pretty much it's the same thing, but it just gives instantly +1/+1 counters. It doesn't have to be brought in. It just gives all rats +1/+1 counters, which obviously you're going to need because they're so squishy, the rats. All right, Nezumi Cutthroat. This is one of those games you want to try, one of those cards you want to get early game, mainly because it just has fear right off the bat. So instead of just having to worry about Marrow coming and giving the rats fear, you can just have Nezumi Cutthroat come out and be like, hey, I got fear. You can't block, and it's a 2/1. So there you go. All right, so these are the really fancy ones that I have issue getting able to play. But if you can get them to play, they are such a help. So Nezumi Short Fang, play it's 2 mana, and then pay 2 mana, 1 black, 1 colorless. Tap it. Target opponent discards a card. Then, if that player has no cards in hand, flip Nezumi Short Fang. Turns into a legendary creature. At the beginning of each of opponent's upkeep, that player loses 1 life for each card fewer than 3 in his hand. So, obviously, that's just mean. That's a mean card. All right, I like this card. Nat Miser, however you want to pronounce it. It's just a 1 black mana, which on a turn 1, this card's great. Each opponent's maximum hand size is reduced by 1. That's just mean. So at the end of their upkeep or playing their round, they have to discard a card probably, which is annoying. Nezumi Rodin, 1 black, 2 Bushido. Here's another ninja ability that a whole lot of rats have. Bushido, when someone decides to block, or if he gets blocked, he gets +1/+1. So just picture him always having +1/+1. All right. Throat Slitter. This is another one with Nijitsu. So the whole idea that makes Nijitsu so good is that you're paying less mana to get this creature onto the field. That's why you want to try and get this ability off. And you're basically flashing it, you're swapping it with another card. Now, whenever Throat Slitter deals damage to a player, destroy target non-black creature that player controls. That's dumb. So it's like somebody's like, oh, I don't want to block that. It's just a rat colony. All right, swap it. Boom. You lose a creature now, which is really, really dumb. All right, this is a really good one. Somebody actually was able to stole this creature from a game recently, and they were dealing some good stuff with it. Nezumi Grave Robber. This is really good for early game. 1 black, 1 colorless, and you remove target card from the opponent's graveyard from the game. If no cards are in the graveyard, flip it. So obviously it's a really good early game, or if somebody played an exile of the deck kind of card. Alright, so it turns into Night Eyes, pay 5 mana, put target creature card in a graveyard into play. So, you take a card from anyone's graveyard, it's under your control. Crypt Ghast, I don't know what else you want me to say, it has Extort, and it's a 2/2, doubles on your mana. Yeah, no, it's just a necessity for any black deck, really, to get that mana. If you realize I have a lot of cards to help get mana, because I don't need a lot for this deck, but this will just help get things onto the field even quicker. So this is another card that people could use as a rat commander, but it's not nearly as good as Marrow. Ink Eyes, Servant of Oni, it is 6 mana, but you can pay less when Jujutsu, like I said before. It's 2 black and then 3 colors, making it 5 mana. Whenever Ink Eyes deals damage to a player, you may put target creature card from that player's graveyard into play in your control, and you can pay 1 black and 1 colors to just have regenerate for her. And she's a 5/4. So that's some good damage. That's some good damage right there. Alright. And look, it's Gary! Grey Merchant of Asphodel. So you gain life and you deal damage to people based on how much devotion you have. We spoke about devotion before. So this could be either a good way to save your butt if you're dying near the end of the game, you just want to gain some extra life, or if you want to get that final blowing kill for some people sometimes. Ratcatcher. This is a necessity for any rat deck. I will keep on saying this over and over again. So this has Fear. 6 mana, 2 black, 4 colors. I'm going to keep saying this. You need this for your freaking rat deck. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may search your library for a rat card. Boom. Already good. Put it into your hand and shuffle your library. If you realize, almost all these are rats. So there you go. That's why Ratcatcher's so good. You can get Oni out there. You can get anything that's a rat. So that's why Ratcatcher is so freaking good. And then the other Locust. This is Locust Mr. Meister, however you want to pronounce it. It's 4 mana. Reduce your hand size by 2. That's annoying. That's really annoying, especially for decks that are all about drawing cards. That's annoying. So that's all we have for the creatures. Now, let's go to enchantments. I don't have a whole lot. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5. So, start with Greed. Greed. 4 mana, 1 black, 3 colors. Pay 1 black, pay 2 life, draw a card. There you go. Helping you draw those necessary rat colonies that you need. Helps out a bunch. Black Market. If you don't know what that is, creature dies, you get a mana counter. You put a little d20, and it resets every time it's your turn. So each turn you just keep adding more and more mana if creatures are dying. And with Rat Colony and your rats, usually in the rat tokens are usually 1/1s. Since they're 1/1s, it gets really easy to fill this bad boy up, and you'll have a butt ton of mana to do as much as you want with it. Bad Moon, all creatures in play get +1/+1. This isn't really the biggest necessity. I mainly put this in the deck because Rat Colony is so squishy. So it helps a lot to have something that can buff these just a little bit, even though it's helping everybody else. Just being able to survive board wipes that deal 1 damage to all creatures, or planeswalkers that do a +1 or +2 that deal 1 damage to all creatures. That helps out a lot with making a rat deck. Phyrexian Arena. You need this in your deck for more draw. Beginning of your upkeep, you play a card and lose 1 life. Draw an extra card, lose 1 life. Grave Pact. A lot of people, I didn't really see a whole lot of people putting Grave Pact, but I feel like that's a really good card to put in your deck. 4 mana, 3 black, 1 colorless. Whenever one of your creatures dies, that person has other person has to sacrifice a creature. Totally worth. Totally worth. Helps clear the board a whole lot quicker. Hence why I like it personally to have it in the deck. Alright, so we don't have a whole lot of instant sorceries. We don't have a whole lot of sorceries. We only got 3. Diabolic Tutor. I don't have Empiric Tutor. Get the better tutors, of course. This is just the one I happen to get. You don't really need a whole lot of tutors for this deck because most of the decks are low-costing rats. Unless you were trying to find a board wipe or something like that you put into your deck. So that's why Dogblood Tutor's in here. Kindred Dominance. There's the board wipe. Which helps out a lot. Kindred Dominance, choose a creature type. Rat. Since most of the deck is entirely rats, having Kindred Dominance in there is so good because you choose a creature type. All creatures that aren't that type chosen, they're gone. and that is a 7 mana. And Diabolic Intent, 2 mana, and this is another tutor. Sacrifice a creature as an extra cost, so it's a 2 mana, sacrifice a creature, and then you can search your deck for another card. So I have 2 tutors in this entire deck, really, but you can also count Ratcatcher as a tutor as well, which is really, really helpful. So there you go. Those are all of the sorceries that I have in this deck. Where are the artifacts? All right, so this is your lifeblood for this deck. Artifacts are extremely... Actually, no. You know what? We're going to do instants because artifacts are too important to go straight head forward into. So go over to the throat. There you go. Target, destroy target on the artifact creature. Sun Spoiling. I just put this in this deck. It's 2 black. Anyway, I'm not going to go back into the mana. That takes way too long to explain. Split Second. As long as this spell is on the stack, players can't cast spells or activate abilities that aren't mana abilities. There you go. That's really useful to stop people. And until end of turn, creature target a player chooses lose all abilities and have base power and toughness is 0-2. So let's say you have a bunch of rat tokens or whatever, and you want to swing them all because they all have fear, and let's say they have like some way to stop that. You could play this and go like, all right, well my rats are still destroying your creatures. That's what you get for blocking me. All right. I just added this, and this is such a useful card. Wretched Confluence. 5 mana. You can choose 3, and you can choose the same. You can choose 3. So, target player draws, and you lose 1 life. Target creature gets -2/-2 to end a turn. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So if you have multiple dead creatures, you can literally use all 3. Just return target creature, or use 3 to target. -2/-2, or you could just draw 3 cards and lose 3 life. That's helpful. Vona's Hunger. Ascend. You have to have City's Blessing, which your devotion has to be more than 10, which a rat deck is going to be really easy to accomplish. And each opponent sacrifices creature. If you have City's Blessing, instead, each opponent sacrifices half the creatures he or she controls, rounded up. That's gross. That is a good board wipe right there. All right, now to the artifacts that I was talking so heavily about before. Now, Vanquisher's Banner. Creature type, Ray. Creatures you control on the chosen type get +1/+1. Whenever you cast a creature spell of the chosen type, draw a card. Yes. That's so easy. That's obviously a necessity. Whip of Erebos. Creatures have lifelink. Pay 2 black, 2 mana, tap this, return target creature card from the graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste, exile it at the beginning of the next step. If it would leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. Activate this ability only during a time of a sorcery. So let's say you have a bunch of rats out, but no rat colonies, and you have a bunch of rat tokens, and you're like, oh, I want to swing this guy hard. There you go. Okay, a little tap. He comes out, he has a crap ton of damage, he has fear, boom. You're dealing a lot of damage, and you're getting a lot of health back. Boom. Sorrowing, well, get 2 colorless mana. Skull Clamp. Alright, I just added this to my deck, I needed it, this is also a necessity. Equipped creature gets +1/-0. So, there you go. You can put it on a rat, because the whole point is that when the creature goes into the graveyard, draw 2 cards. So there you go. You can draw a lot of cards. There's a lot of card draw when you're playing with this card. Ash Nods. All right. So after this, I'm going to talk about combos, because you could do combos with Ash Nods that make you actually go infinite with rat. Boom, going infinite with rat. So Ash Nod's Altar. 3 colorless. You sacrifice a creature and you get 2 mana in your mana pool. There you go. Coat of Arms. If you don't have this with a rat deck, it's not a real rat deck. Simple as that. You don't have this? It's not a real rat deck. Get +1/+1 for each other creature on the battlefield that shares at least 1 creature type. You will get the biggest rats you'll ever gosh darn see with this. I once swung with there were just 1 rat colony. It was like 64 something. It was ridiculous. Just it's simple as that. Bounty's Monument. Black creature spells cost 1 less to cast, and whenever you cast a creature spell, each opponent loses 1 life. You gain 1 life. Boom. Only pay 1 mana for a rat colony. Look at that. 1 mana for a rat colony. Ain't that dumb? And all the gaining of life and stuff. Cage Sun. More buffs. Choose color. Black. Creatures of chosen color get +1/+1. Whenever a land's ability adds 1 or more mana to the chosen color of your mana pool, add 1 additional mana of that color pool. Doubles your mana. There you go. Alright. I have won quite a few games with Door Destinies. So, as Door Destinies enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Rat. Whenever you cast a spell of the chosen type, put a charge counter to the door. So, playing a rat is a spell. So, you get a +1/+1 for each time you play a rat. That's dumb. So you're getting toughness and power all at the same time. That's a necessity. Charcoal Diamond, just to get the extra mana. Alright, so these are the 2 cards you will combo with. These 2, combo, yes, good, yes. So, Sword of the Perunes. So I'll show you exactly how to combo. You get Sword of Perunes, and you get Ashnod's Altar. And, take Thrumming Stone out for a sec. So the way that this will work is that you have Ashnod's Altar out, and you'll have the Sword of Perunes. You attach it to Marrow. And if you don't know what the Sword of Perunes does, as long as the creature gets tapped, +2/+0, or you get +0/+2 for if it's untapped. So, you pay 3 mana. This is where you could go infinite. You pay 3 mana. You may tap or untap equipped creature. So this is how you go infinite if you haven't figured it out already. You sacrifice a creature. You sacrifice, like, let's say 2 rats, and then you'll have 1 floating. You can untap him, tap him again to get that. Untap him. Sacrifice 2. You have 4 mana. You tap this so that he becomes untapped. Let's say if he was tapped. You could just continuously make rats forever. You go infinite with rats. That's the whole idea right there. And that is one of the combos. And then there's Thrumming Stone. Ripple 4. Ripple means if you play a creature of the same name, you can search your deck, you draw the next 4 cards. Well, you have 23 rat colonies. What do you think the possibility of being able to draw another one? And every time you draw 1, it keeps adding on to it. So you draw 4, let's say there's 1 in there, you draw another 4. But if you draw 2, you'll draw 8. So you just continuously adding more rats, and eventually you have all your rat colonies on the field. You swing big, you win. So that's one way with Thrumming Stone. Necessity, you will probably be blocked. That's why you get a couple lands. We're getting near the end of the video. That's why you get Buried Ruin. It's a land, tap it, get 1 colorless mana, or you can pay 2, sacrifice it, and return an artifact to your hand. Return this guy, please. You'll do so well. That's literally the reason why I have that in my deck. Westvale Abbey. Well, 1 colorless mana, pay 5 mana, and tap it, pay 1 life. You get a white and black human cleric token, or, of course, you want to pay the 5. Sacrifice it, get 5 creatures, and then turn it into the creature. It's a 9/7 with trample, flying, lifelink, and haste. Sweet infant baby Jesus. That is crazy. Urborg makes every land in the game a swamp. Boom. You need that. Also, it makes itself a swamp. Kobold Stronghold. Alright, tap it. Get a colorless mana, or you can pay 3 mana and it doubles your swamps. Reliquary Tower. With all the draw that you can get in this game, why not have maximum hand size just to be safe? And Swarmyard. Necessity for any rat deck. It is not a true rat deck unless you have Swarmyard. Pay gives you 1 mana to your mana pool, or you can tap to regenerate insect, rat, spider, or squirrel. Boom. Look at that. You can regenerate your rats. That's pretty important. With all the cards I've shown, there are still a few that I am needing besides just the tutors. One, for example, this is one called Thornbite Staff, which is another way you could go infinite with it. Highly look into it. Equipped creature, which you would do the rat colony. It gives the ability, pay 2 mana, tap it. This creature deals 1 damage to target creature or player, and whenever a creature is put into a graveyard from play, untap this creature. So Ashnods, sack, boom. So it's just an easier way to get that combo instead of Perunes. That's one way. And then Phyrexian Reclamation, just to get more rats from your graveyard. Highly recommend it. So that is my deck. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you make a rat deck because it's by far, in my opinion, the best mono black deck you can make besides a demon deck or something else of the sort. But I highly suggest Marrow. He is really good. Right now, he's like 15 bucks, 15 to 20 bucks for him. He's really good. The best mono black commander in my personal opinion. So get your Marrow on, make the deck super easy. I only run like 30 lands. That's all you need, really. You have a bunch of draw. Boom. Get your Marrow. Thanks for watching the video. Check out Platinum Star Games in Howell, New Jersey. It'll be at the end of the video. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.